All right, ladies, do you ever just meet somebody, and especially as an adult, like, and you just like connect, and like you don't even like you said like three words, and you're like, oh my God, we're gonna be friends, like, and not to be that like Instagram real thing, like really, we're gonna be friends. Like I met this woman, ooh, maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh my God, I love her vibe, I love her energy, we need to be together. And I was like, and I need to share her with you because I love her story so much. We talked about burnout and how many of you have burnt yourself to a crisp, or maybe on your road to burnout, and you're like, I think I smell something burning, but it could be leaves. And maybe it's you. So have a listen to what Miss Lesley Logan has to say and how she's used her passion for Pilates to one, make it her platform, but also make it her way of teaching others how to care for themselves, how to build consistency into their lives by building it into a Pilates practice, which is like, wow, like, hello, what a concept. Welcome to the show, Miss Lesley Logan.
Oh my God. Thanks. I'm sorry. I laughed in the intro, but I like that's so that just made me laugh so hard. I'm so excited to be here. I know we only kind of saw each other's names in the Facebook group, but never had actually met in person. And when I saw you across the room and then we get to have that dinner together, I was like, this girl, I think well, we could like finish each other's sentences. Like we were talking
Yes.
about life, not just fitness, but like when we were at dinner, we're talking about everything. And we're like, no, this is what's really happening.
Yes,
So
yes,
yeah.
yes. And
Um,
it's so refreshing to like meet like adult women. You're like, oh my God, adults. Like, I love it.
I know that's actually, gosh, I wish that wasn't the case, but that is true. It's,
Mm,
it's really, especially since I've moved to Las Vegas recently, I've had to actually like make friends,
yes,
like, and because I'm not traveling the way I used to, I'm not just seeing friends randomly like I did my career before the pandemic. And so I'm like, okay, how does one do that? And then
right.
like, what is that like? And so, I've been saying yes to a lot of like opportunities to meet people. And what I'm surprised by is just how many cool adult women are out there who are like on a mission to be part of community and bring people together.
Right.
And it's like what you look for, you will find. But yeah, so I'm just so glad that we got to connect in real life and we get to do this today.
Yeah. And so one of the real things that I loved about your story is that, you're the Pilates queen, which is great. And we'll talk about Pilates. But how you talked about how you came to Pilates. Most people come to fitness because they want something. You came to fitness, and it might, when I say want something, they want like a better body, they want whatever. But you came to Pilates because you're like, I am just like fried and I need something else. So what led you to like that burnt out place?
Yeah, I mean, I will be completely honest. I did hope that I would lose the freshman 25 that I'd kept with me
Of
for four
course.
years.
Of course. That's always in the back of your mind.
It's
Of
always in the
course.
back, like, I don't know. But I actually wasn't expecting Pilates to do that. No, where I was in my life is I had just graduated college, and um I was going to school full time, paying for it myself with student loans, which is always its own stress
Mm,
and a great thing that could add to burnout. And because of those student loans and because I was on my own, I was actually managing a jewelry store. So I was working about 50 hours a week running that store, in heels. Right. And going to school full time. And I found myself in a position where like my friends who graduated from college had moved on. And so all I did was work, and I
yeah.
would go to the gym, but like nothing was really changing. And I was not fueling myself correctly because I didn't even know
Mm,
what that meant
right.
at the time. And I wasn't even seeking that out, but I just was doing things the way I always did them. But because of the stress of everything of trying to hit goals at my job and also pay the bills of living on your own as a 25-year-old with $400, $500 a month student loans, like
Yeah.
on top of rent, I was just in this place where I didn't know how to get out of it.
Yeah.
And someone invited me to Pilates, and I honestly, like, I made fun of it. I said that infomercial stuff doesn't work, like, that's an infomercial. It doesn't do it. But I just knew in my gut that I needed to do something different. And I really wanted this person to hopefully be a friend. I thought, well, we'll go to class and then we'll get avocado toast and we'll never go back to that class, but at least I'll
Right.
have a friend. Anyways, I felt something new in my body I'd never felt before. Like I felt like I was in my actual body. And I don't know,
Right.
ladies, if anyone feels like this. I'm a hypermobile body. I'm also an Aquarius. So like in the head and like I didn't really feel muscles when I held plank. I just felt my wrists and my elbows and my shoulders.
Right. And you're like, when is this over?
Please, someone let me out. But I felt muscles and I felt like I was inside myself. And it was the first workout that I couldn't think about what I hadn't done or how I was going to pay for something or where was that money going to come from or anything like that. And I literally changed my entire work schedule and the schedule of my entire team so I could go to class every single day. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I like that because so many of us get so up in our head, regardless of what your astrological sign, it's really easy to get up in your head. And even though you say you're going to exercise, like people go for a run or whatever, and you're list making the entire time, like what, as soon as I get done with this run, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not actually present in the run. I mean, some people are, and I admire them. I, as a avid runner, and actually I was a sponsored runner, that was never my, was never my brain.
Right. You were like list making or what I should be doing other than this. And you were always where like, I find that like so fascinating that you were just able to come in and just like turn it off. Like, this is my spot. This is my place.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say like, that is the power of the method. And that if Pilates feels easy to you, it's because you're not focusing on it. It's because you're thinking about your lists or you're thinking about something. And like the big joke is if Pilates is easy, you're doing it wrong. But really it's not that like the teacher is not good. It's not that you're not good. It's that your brain is not there. Yeah. And if you're really focusing on your brain telling your body what to move and when, you can only think about that. And it was the first time that I understood what people talk about when they talk about meditation. Cause everyone just say, just meditate. It's a stress reliever. Okay. I hear you. And I have a lot of things on my mind. That's like torture, like just making me sit still with my thoughts.
Right.
So,
exactly.
So what I found was, that it just forced me to be inside of my body. And I think a lot of us, if we spent more time there, would have more confidence and the answers to more things. And also like really know how to trust ourselves in the next step and decision we have to make. And that didn't come the first year of doing Pilates. It definitely came after years of diving into the method and teaching it and seeing it affect others, for me, seeing it affect other people. So.
And I love what you talk about the self-trust. I think even regardless of what sport you choose, it's you trusting that like, hey, maybe I can do this next move, or maybe I can lift that heavier weight, where a lot of us don't experience self-trust. Like we always have that negative talk in the back of our mind being like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You're going to get hurt, or this is bad for you. Stop doing it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, I get asked all the time, like, how are you so confident? And I said, no, I'm actually scared most of the time. I'm actually like when I read that Maya Angelou was worried that she'd be found out someday, I'm like, oh my God, her too. Like, yes.
Right.
But what I have discovered as far as confidence goes is that because of my practice with Pilates, because I have seen myself progress just by showing up for it, not by being perfect with it, not by like making myself look like anybody else doing it. And that's really important. I think it's really easy for people to think, oh, I don't look like her, I can't do it. No, I don't even look like myself half the time doing it. Like every day is a new day in the body. But because I have this consistent showing up and I have these aha moments of like, oh, I'm able to do that today and I couldn't do it yesterday. Because of that, then when I end up in a gym and my trainer's like, I want you to lift these heavier weights, I'm like, my brain, the practice of my brain isn't like, oh, can't do that.
Right.
No, because I've been practicing showing myself I can do hard things. I'm like, yeah, let me try that. I think I can try that. So that self-trust can look like confidence. And often it's just that it's the practice of being able to see what is possible in your body. And the reason I say it comes from Pilates, and it probably can come from other things, but this is what I teach all, is that I teach classical Pilates, which is just Joseph Pilates' method in his order. Like, so a lot of people teach his method, they might change the order, and that's totally fine. I am someone who needs to know when I'm going to start and where I'm going to end.
Right.
And so we start with the 100, we went with push-ups on the mat. And what's so lovely about that is, as someone who had so many insecurities, as someone who's like comparison syndrome, just because I grew up in this country, no, I'm not blaming my parents. It's just like the life we live.
Exactly.
You can only compare yourself to yourself. Oh, I couldn't do that yesterday, but I can do it today. Right. And so that practice is what gives me that courage. And it's what gives my clients that courage to show up and do hard things.
And, you said a bunch of things that I'm like, whoa, so good. The first thing, just showing up.
Yeah.
So many people will say they want to show up, but there's, a litany of things that keep them from even when are there, not fully showing up. Like just being like, I went to Pilates, now we're going to get green juice. Like, no, like be in Pilates and don't focus on like, am I going to get with ginger or not ginger? Like, what am I going to do?
That's such a good way of avoidance that we've all, I think is a strength of ours. We were able to like, oh, how do I get out of this place that I'm stuck in that I may not, I'm not sure I want to be here right now.
and I get it. Like I have a good friend and I love her to pieces. Melissa, I love you. But she always is like, let's go to yoga. Yoga's fine, but I'm not a 90-minute yoga person. So like once we get to like I get to like around like hour like 10, I am staring at the clock like every chance I took it to my head, and so I'm not present. And so I know that feeling, but I know there are other things that I show up for that I'm like, head down, let's get this done.
Yeah I think that comes with like, you got to find the thing that works for you, and you have to give it a chance as well. So like if you've given Pilates a chance, but you were thinking about the ginger or no ginger in your juice afterwards, give it another chance or try another teacher. I am with you. I used to be the girl who did those 90-minute classes. And I'll full disclosure, I would make sure I was in a position where I was in a down dog. I could see the clock.
Yeah.
And I went to this one teacher who I knew had a system. I figured out a system, 45 minutes of warm up, 45 minutes of work, 45 minutes of cool down. And so I just like, you just have to get to that second 45 and then you're on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to always be near like the clock, and I also have to be near the door. So there's like a little coolness.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I will say like, if you are that person who is not able to be present, I think that's also just a habit you've created for yourself. Right. It's also like a form of perfectionism in disguise, or procrastination, which is perfectionism in disguise, where it's like, I don't really know how what to do. I'm not really comfortable being here yet. And so I'm going to go somewhere where I am comfortable, which is like list building. Like we're all ladies, we're so comfortable list building. So, I just think that it's like, give yourself permission to just be there and be uncomfortable. Like that's because again, there's that cliche, like life happens outside of your comfort zone, but you don't even, that doesn't feel comfortable to you. And so I put myself in Pilates, this uncomfortable situation, and being present with myself, that was really uncomfortable. But what I learned is, oh, there's cool stuff that happens in the uncomfortable thing. It's not pain. It's a difference. So I think that it's like just giving yourself permission to practice in a safe place, being uncomfortable. So you're not like putting yourself out there, putting your money in something that like, oh my God, is this going to be the thing that like makes me rich today? It's like, no, practice being uncomfortable in something that's safe. Right. Like Pilates, you get to lay on the ground, y'all. Like it's really
right. Like, safe. Exactly. Oh, and it's also kind of like what you said, the more you practice it, the more you're able to say, you know what, I'm going to try that new thing because I practiced doing something new and I'm still here to tell the story. So this next new thing isn't going to, it's going to be a little scary, but I'm going to trust that I can get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So something that I talk about a lot in my on-demand classes, I remind them, if you can't do this yet, what else is possible in your body right now? So I repeat that over and over. Yes. And I remind them when we do a harder exercise, I'm like, even if you fell out of this exercise, because sometimes I do, you can do hard things. Look at what you just did. When we show up on our mat, we are practicing showing up for ourselves. That's what I believe. Right. And that allows it to be easier for us to put ourselves first in other things, or even consider ourselves at least in other things that we do. When you show up for your mat, you're practicing showing up for yourself, right? They say that in yoga, they say how you are on your mat is how you are in life. I believe it to be true for anything. How you do one thing, so you do everything. So if on the mat, I'm giving you permission to do something else and you do that, it is telling your brain, if I can't do what I'm supposed to do at my job today, what else is possible right now? Right. And then you're able to problem solve in a different way. Or something I say is like, you can do hard things. Look what you just did. And I had one of my members DM me. I'm going to cry. I cry every time I share this. She DM'd me and she said, thank you for reminding us that we can do hard things all the time, because today I had to have a hard conversation at work. And I know the old me would have avoided the conversation, but I had the conversation because I'm reminded every time I hit my mat that I can do hard things. And chills. That's why I do what I do, because I know that for myself, but I want other people to have that confidence and that wisdom in their body too.
Yeah. And I love that, because you're right. Because it's like some days you feel like I just opened the door and that's all I got in me today. Some days you're like, the 100, can we do 1,000? And
yeah. Well, you brought that up earlier, and I want to say, like, it is okay to just put the mat down. You don't actually have to get on it. Like, sometimes it's just practicing that you are going to take the next step.
Yes. Oh, gotta write that down.
Yeah. And I used to be that all or nothing person. Like, I'm a recovering perfectionist for sure. Recovering overachiever. Hello, eldest child over here. So it was really hard for me in the very beginning of doing Pilates or doing anything. If I couldn't do it 100%, I was mad at myself. Like the reason I had to like literally retire from running races is because no matter what the time was, if it wasn't what my goal was, I was disappointed in it.
Right. Even if it was like 2 seconds, like slower, you're like, it sucked.
Yeah. Oh, I could have done this. Or if that person hadn't like cut me off, like, and we're talking like only once in all of my races was I ever proud of myself. That's because I won something. It wasn't
right.
It wasn't like I was like, my thing was focused on the wrong thing. And so it's taken me a long time to be able to say that and believe it, say that, yeah, you can just put your mat on, it's okay. Today I went into my Pilates studio. I was like, I'm just not feeling it today. And I was like, well, we're going to start with this. And if that's all we do, that's fine. And I'm not going to lie. It took me a long time to be okay with that.
Yes.
But you have to give yourself permission to try to be okay with it, because it opens up all the doors. I ended up doing 30 minutes. Like it led to one thing, and so I think we are told no pain, no gain, all or nothing. And none of that is true. And it's holding all of us back from like being inside of our body and being like present with ourselves to know, are you burning out right now? How do you feel? Like, do you feel good today?
Yeah, no, and you're 100%, because it's like, I know I was that all or nothing person. And now there's sometimes like I've like walked in the gym, I've just foam rolled. And sometimes I sit there after I foam roll and I'm like, do I have it in me today? And some days I can be like, you know what? I'm just going to walk on the treadmill for 15 minutes. And some days I'm like, yep, that's all I got. And I grab my keys and I walk back out the door.
Well, and you know what, ladies, our cycle also says that. Like, that's what we are not told. We're not taught that in that 5th grade class where they separate us and make everyone feel uncomfortable about their bodies instead of like letting them know what's going to happen to each other. Like they don't tell you there are going to be 2 weeks of your life where you can like literally, you're a superhero. Like literally, ladies, we are superheroes. And then there's 2 weeks where you are supposed to be like building an organ, like taking time for yourself. And so one of the things I love about Pilates is it is something you can do no matter where you are in your cycle. You can make it as intense or as low impact and least intense as you want. So that's nice. I don't have to like think, what am I going to do today? But I have this app that I use and it's like, you do lower intensity workouts the next 5 days. I'm like, oh, no wonder I'm not excited about the Tabata workout that's on my Peloton right now. I don't want to do my body's like, no, Tabata, just like walk the dog.
Maybe walk the dog twice. Like it's
yeah.
That's all
and here's the thing that they're studying is when women are doing the higher intensities, pushing themselves during the part of their cycle that is like what the body is ready for and wanting. And then they, on the other part, they actually take the time to focus on form, strength, conditioning, like very precise movements and lower impact. Olympic athletes are having faster times, stronger times, better performances. Like this is something as women, we actually have this power to do. And I'm convinced they didn't want us to know that because we'll probably be faster than the men. Sorry, men who are listening, but seriously, like, so it's like, it's okay if your body is saying, I just want to go for a walk. There's nothing wrong with you. It's probably your hormones saying, hi, this is what I want. And you should congratulate yourself for listening. Like, for going, I hear that. You want me to go just for a walk today. Okay.
I know. It's funny because we all feel like But you asked that question, is it enough? You know,
Mm.
was the walk enough? Was just doing Pilates enough? Was, you know, what you insert anything, was it enough? And you nailed it. How did you feel after?
Yeah.
Did you feel it was enough? Like that's who you asked, not like some external like judging body.
Yeah. I feel like that word enough has really screwed up a lot of us.
Mm, yes.
You know, that one and just,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know how to hear that, I think Kim and I both can talk. Like, it wasn't like I grew up knowing to listen to my body. I was not aware of what that was. I don't know. Like I would hear like, just listen to your body. I'm like, well, where do I need to put my ear? Like where,
Right.
where
That's
is it
like when you
talking
tell
from?
me to just relax. Like, what does that mean?
Oh my God, just relax. It's going to be okay. Thanks.
Okay, I'll do that.
Wonderful.
Right. Thanks for the advice.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, if you have gone most of your life without listening to your body, it's like learning a new language.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go to class and speak fluent Spanish or whatever you're trying to learn. You're gonna have to start with the vowels.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny you say that because so many people, like when they first start working with me, they always expect to nail it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, if you were learning a new language, would you nail it? Would you expect in the first month to be fluent?
Yeah.
Maybe be able to ask where the bathroom is and maybe get a drink, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, and also like, where did we learn this? Because here's what's interesting. So I've been studying behavior science, y'all. So I'm a Pilates instructor who's like been really curious, like, why do people want to be perfect
Yes.
at Pilates as opposed to just feeling good that they did it? Right. Like,
Yeah.
and by the way, this is curiosity for myself. I was always like trying to get it. And I'm so grateful that I have this mentor who she asked me to do something. And I said, oh, just tell me what you want me to do. And she was kind enough to say, well, that's not what we're looking for here.
Wow. That's good.
And I was like, what? Because every other teacher I'd been to was like, nope, this is the way you do it. Right. Yeah. So they're telling me like, this is perfect. Do you fit the mold? Right.
Yeah.
And no offense to them. They probably were trained that way. But this teacher like did a pattern interrupt. And then I was like, huh, that's interesting. And so, I've been studying habits and behavior science, and BJ Fogg writes in his book, Tiny Habits. He is the head of like some situation at Stanford. James Clear studied with him. The founders of Instagram studied with him, like big deal. And he says, when babies take a step, they don't look at me and go, was that perfect?
Yes.
They look, and every parent, even if they stumbled, goes, that was, oh my God, they cheer this baby on, right? For this baby step they made. They don't go, oh, no, make sure your foot doesn't turn in. No, they just are so proud that the baby took a step. And every time the baby takes in, oh my God, it's so amazing. And so somewhere after we're a baby, we've decided that there's a right way to do everything and that we need to seek affirmation from someone else. And maybe that came from the congratulations of taking the baby steps, but I don't think the baby is not going, was that perfect? The baby is just saying, wow, this excites people. When I take a step, it makes people get happy, right? I'm going to keep trying. So I think like, we need to just go back into the idea of like, when you take a baby step, it's just about celebrating. It's not about, was it perfect? Was it enough? Did I do it right? Like, then that's something I'm still working on. Again, recovering perfectionist and overachiever over here.
Well, and it's funny. I always say to people, it's like, everyone thinks like when I, master whatever move in Pilates, then I've arrived, or if I've lost, 10 pounds, I've arrived. But we're human. There's always going to be another step, another level that we're always going to want to achieve. And so if you think you're going to arrive, you're so sadly misguided, because there's always going to be something else that you want to try.
Oh, 100%. I don't know. I think that you only arrive to a party. I don't actually think you arrive anywhere at life. And I mean, with Pilates, there's over 500 exercises right?
Yeah.
On the mat, There's 34 and I teach all 34, but then there's variations, there's preps, there's advancements, there's props. And there's this one exercise that I tell everyone, you're never going to get this exercise. Don't try to be perfect at it. Use it as a barometer for the progress you've made. Does it feel more doable today than yesterday? You fell out of it. Okay. So where are you still tight? Like use it. So I think like, if we could just start to use things as barometers rather than I get a reward, I think we'd have a lot more fun at treating our workouts as experiments or as a practice. You know, I always say it's a practice, not a perfect. And you know, cause it's true. Like, so then what? You got it. What are you going to do next? Like, what are you going to do with that achievement? You know, are you just going to stack it up with all the achievements you've had in your life? Or you going to go to the next level? And I think that's tricky for people, you know?
And it's funny you said, as you were kind of like saying, there's two things you said that made me laugh and maybe kind of think a little different. It's like, if I were to nail that, whatever Pilates move that it is there a Mercedes waiting out front when
and you get a car,
right? You know, is there a Mercedes out front? Is there going to be like, you know, the Pilates czar coming with like a big, like plaque to present it to me? You know, so it's like, and the same thing with weight loss. Like, you know, is there a prize? Like when I lose 10 pounds, what's the prize? Right. There's no prize. There's other than like, I did it. Like, great, good for me. And like, unfortunately, like my parents are going to be like, Kim, you lost 10 pounds. Great.
Right. Well, that's the thing. But that's one of the reasons I had to like ditch the scale, because I found there was actually never a number that was enough.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, I clearly have an issue here. Let's just remove that from us and actually find different ways of measuring how we feel. And that's hard for so many women, but like, I mean, cause I grew up, I grew up with a grandmother who was over 300 pounds her whole life, and she lost 100, gained 100.
Yeah.
Fin was her favorite. She was very upset when that was taken away from her. And I just only knew that I didn't know that diets were how you eat. I thought you just got on one.
That's
like you got on a diet.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because I was telling my grandfather, I have a gluten and dairy free diet. And he's like, you're too thin to be on a diet. I'm like, no, actually diets are like the way you eat food. It's not like you're on one. And so I just grew up like, you're always trying to lose weight. Like that's the battle that we're all trying to solve. Yeah. And I didn't want to stick with that my whole life. And so I will say to the ladies who are, you know, wanting to do Pilates to lose weight, Pilates is a strength-based workout, but it is not going to burn the calories that your Peloton or your treadmill or your run is going to burn. It's like doing a weightlifting. You're going to burn, you know, based on your weight, like 100 something calories, but the muscles you're building increase the metabolism you have, so that it is a great thing to add to your journey if that is a goal for you. But I as a Pilates teacher am not going to say do Pilates and you'll look like you have a Pilates body. Like, no, you're going to look like you have a great body that's yours. It's going to look like you.
Right. And that was one of the reasons why, like, I, you know, after, you know, we met and I stalked you a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not going to pop up out of your closet because I'm also lazy. That you talk about Pilates, what it is. You're like, it is an exercise regimen. Like, it is not, you know, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. There's not going to be this magical transformation from Pilates. And I love that, because so many people will, and I'm not just saying Pilates, like a lot of people will say, if you do ABC workout, wow, what a transformation you're going to have. And I'm like, and I feel like it just sets women up for like failure. Because, you know, you're looking in the mirror and you're like, I've been going every damn day. Like, I got nothing.
Right. And I think, like, you know, like there's enough disappointment in our life, and there's also enough people selling us some BS. And I just want to be honest with people, like that, like, you know, yes, in my life, I have been way thinner doing Pilates, and I also look back at those pictures and I can see a girl who was unhealthy and did not have the nutrition that needed her. And I was not fueled and I didn't feel great. Right. So where I am in my body right now, I actually really love it. It's the heaviest I've ever been, but I'm the strongest I have ever been. And that to me is way more important. And that took a journey, that took some time getting to know myself. But I really do want people to have realistic expectations for themselves, because I think, we're not on a race. Like we each have our own journey. And so, we're going to get there. You're going to get there if we just stay the course. That's your course. And we don't go on someone else's path, or we do this. Oh, she did that and she lost 10. So I'm going to do that. I'll lose 10. We don't know. We don't know if maybe it's just a parasite. Like,
Yeah,
exactly. So like, I think it's just, someone needs to be honest. And I try to do that every single day. And I really do want women to add Pilates to everything they're already doing, because I know that even if they do 10 minutes with me, they're going to feel more confident in their body. They're actually going to feel their body, and they're going to take that information with them when they strength train. They're going to take that information with them when they get on a treadmill or they run. It's not you do Pilates and that's it. You just add it to what you're doing. It's going to improve everything you're already doing, even if it's 10, 15 minutes a day. It's not something you have to do an hour of.
Yeah. And I also love that. Like you make it simple, and it's like, you do you. How is this going to add to your life? And as you said, like getting in your body, like so many times, I see, just in the gym, people just don't know how to lift. Like they don't even have like body awareness. And what, through Pilates, also through yoga, both of those I think are very good for just helping you understand how your body moves in space.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I used to work at a high-end fitness gym, and the trainers would send me people like, can you help them with their form? And I'm like, yeah, they just need to understand where their arms connect from.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to learn that in a bicep curl. So let me show you. And then if you want to stick with me, great. If you want to just keep going the trainer, that's also fine. It's your journey. And like, there's no offense, but I do know that if I have you for a month consistently, you're going to feel where your arms move from, where your legs move from, how you stand in your feet. Yeah. And that changes how you stand up in front of a conference room to sell an idea. That changes how you walk through a gym. Oh my gosh, this one gym, a location I worked at, the way you walked from the stairs, like up the stairs to the locker room, the walkway was literally in front of all the cardio equipment. So all the cardio equipment is facing this runway. Okay. So it's West Hollywood, everyone. So of course that's where the models are. And there's this walkway, right? This runway, and people would like work it. And I had this one client who I loved her so much, but she's like, she wouldn't use the locker room. She's like, no, I use the bathroom downstairs and I just go home and shower. I'm like, why? She's like, well, I don't want to walk the runway. I want to walk in front of everyone. And so I said, well, that's lame. You're not going to be able to do this session next week because you don't have the time to go home when you could just use the showers here. And so I watched her like try to walk behind the treadmills against the wall. Like she's trying, like
kind of like inch behind.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about how you stand, how you look, how you do this.
Yeah.
And we worked on her staying her feet and how that actually makes your spine stand up. And ladies, like, you want to look instantly 5 pounds thinner, stand upright.
Yes.
This is not pinching your shoulders back like your mama told you. This is like the shoulders just being on your back and your head being over your spine and your shoulders being over your hips. And oh my gosh, if you don't lock your knees and you don't jet your lower back forward, boom, you are going to look taller, longer, stronger. And she like made it a daily thing. Every time she came to the gym, she like walked that runway. And it was so fun to see her like shift like that. And that's my goal for every woman. It's like, I just want to get them to shift into that spot. Like, oh, I can walk into any room.
Yeah. And I like that. And it's, I laugh because I used to coach girls to do fitness competitions, and we used to teach them to walk. And so many would come in walking like a truck driver, and you're just like,
like Miss Congeniality.
Yes, completely. And you're just like, okay, for the love of God, roll back your shoulders. Like, let me just start there.
Yeah.
But I totally see that. And I know, like, even for me, someone who's like confident, I'd be like, oh, do I really want to walk the gamut in front of everybody who's on cardio with shit else to do but look up?
They're looking at the TV. They're not no one is looking at you the way you think they're looking at you. No one is. And if they are, it is 1 second where they do a look up and down.
That's her.
And then they move on to the next person. Their brain is not on, they're not going, oh my God, did you see Kim walking at the, no one says that. Like, it's just not happening. And so, But what also isn't happening is that the same people who are worried about what people think about them, or when they see them, those are the same people who actually don't know how to listen to their body because they're not in it. They're just in their head so much. And so I just want to drop everyone into it. And the only way that's worked for me, and I mean, this is someone who I love breath work. I'm studying it to teach it. I do 3 morning pages, and I do, well, I don't really meditate, guys. I'm sorry. I do breath work. That's my meditation.
Yeah,
and I do
me
my morning
too.
pages, but I do all that stuff. And I'm telling you, like, the only reason I can give that I can get any of the benefits from that is because I know how to be in my body. And that is from my practice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. That's like, you talk a lot about like confidence, and it's that confidence comes from, like knowing how to like stand tall and knowing how to just like feel that awareness that like, you know what, I am looking pretty good. And it's not from a aesthetic way. It's more from just like, I feel really good.
It's all feeling. And here, so I want to talk about the confidence and the standing. So there is actually studies on this, ladies. This is not like I made this up and like, you can buy this. No, Amy Cuddy did a TED talk. Yeah. And they did a study on power stance, and they had people stand in a power stance for 5 minutes, which is like a Superwoman, that's her stance, or Wonder Woman stance. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's called a power stance. So you stand like that. Now, to stand like that for 5 minutes, I'm going to be really honest. You need to have strength. Like that is not an easy thing to stand in, because you got to be in all 4 corners of your feet. You have to have some blood flow through your knees. You're going to faint. You got to be able to feel, you got to have your glutes and what I call your thighs, which is where your thigh meets your booty, supporting you. And then your shoulders have to be over those hips, and you can't be pinching them up into your ears, because that's going to get exhausting. Those muscles don't do that for 5 minutes.
Right.
So you have to have the strength to do this. But if you can do it for 5 minutes, they have proven, they sent people in who stood like that for 5 minutes into an interview. And then they sent people who slouched for 5 minutes into an interview. And they had the interviewees, I guess, or the interviewers, excuse me, they were trained to give zero, like no space, nothing, like no reactions to anything. The people who went in with the power stance all thought they nailed the job. And all the people who had the slouchy stance all thought they lost the job. It's great. And like the person, they may as well been talking to a wall, because that's what they got back. And so if you are really struggling with your confidence or just yourself, you want to be able to stand in your own 2 feet, in those muscles, have that strength, stand like that for 5 minutes, and you'll have instant confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I remember when like she first did her TED talk, and I watched it, and it's true. Like it just, if we personally feel confident, then that just like exudes, like it just, it's like a beam around the room.
Yeah. You influence everyone around you more than you think. And that is the same as if you are sitting in uncertainty and self-doubt and exhaustion, all of that energy is being fed into the room as well. So
yeah. And I know, a lot of people are like, oh, I can identify with the exhaustion and uncertainty. And so it's like, here's where we're asking, like, find something that helps you to get into your body. It could be Pilates, it could be yoga, it could be breath work, it could be meditation, it could be something. And even if it's just for 5 minutes, hell, a minute.
Yeah.
Start there.
No, the exercise called the 100, if you do it right, it's 10 cycles of breathing. You inhale for 5, you exhale for 5, and you're pumping your arms. So you're doing 100 pumps. It lasts 1 minute. If that's all you did, I promise you, your inner thighs worked, your glutes worked, your core worked, not just your rectus abdominis, but the muscles that surround your whole core. Your arms pump from your back. So your back worked, right? And then you go on with your day. That's enough. That's a lot. That's more than most people do when they go to the gym.
Right. And it's like, and you've, especially with your program, and let's talk about that. You give people an on-ramp, right? It's not this like, you have to drop in and you must do it in this way. You give people a lot of different ways to interact with Pilates, which is amazing, and I think also the fact that you share that with other teachers so that they don't feel like this is the way it has to be in this like box.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really proud of our platform. It's called onlinepilatesclasses.com. So it's plural, onlinepilatesclasses.com. It's a very memorable URL, but we call it OPC. And then because all of our members are from the 90s, they go, yeah, you know me. And it's really funny because some of our older ladies do it too. And I'm like, they definitely didn't see that music video.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause they would be like,
what is this group?
Right.
So, but yeah, so we, there's a couple things that I do because I'm an accountability queen, and I know that people buy the thing, but don't do the thing. And they think I'm going to get the results by paying for it. And I don't like that. I don't like that most membership platforms basically are like gyms. They get you to sign up and then they don't care if you come or not, because they could never have all the members come to the gym at one time if they did. Right. So anyways, I have one mat class up for the whole week. That's it. And the reason for that is for you to have no other decisions to make except for that you decided to show up for Pilates. You logged in, you press play. That's it. So I don't want you to waste even a minute trying to figure out what class to take, which is like usually what happens to me when I'm on my Peloton. I'm like, well, I don't know
it's 4 million.
There's 1,000, like, just show me the one from today. So then it's also only 30 minutes, but we have this inside joke that finishing is optional. So if you do if you set your timer for 5 minutes, that's all you do. That's fine. Like, there is no one on my team is going to go, oh, Kim, you actually only did 22 minutes of class this week. That was enough. Like,
you have to make it up.
Yeah. And then, but if that is not where you're at, if you're not at an all levels 30 minutes yet, we do have an intro series that I created, which is 3 classes that you get to keep forever that are 10 to 15 minutes long. Some of our, in air quotes, advanced clients love it because when they only have 10 minutes, they don't have to set a timer. They can just choose that and it just ends at 10 minutes. And that I did that on purpose. I really wanted people to understand that if you're in the all levels class and I call it something you can't do yet, you do something you already did, because the way Pilates works is it's compounding. The exercise that happened at the beginning of the mat class, you just take 3 of them, put them together, and that's what's happening at the end. It's not anything new. It's not anything your body hasn't done. So we have that for you. We also have free tutorials for everyone to like really break it down. And then we have a group where you have access to me to literally go, Lesley, I just don't understand this in my body. And I literally help you break it down in that group, like a private session. And so, yeah, you could do the intro series, or you can go in as a weekly member, and really the community is what helps. What makes us so unique is that everyone is in there supporting each other. So when someone's like, I can't do this, and they like show a picture, they're like, oh, look at how long you are. Look how strong you are. Like they're so in it to support each other, because they know that that's what helps them show up. Right. And so that's our goal. And so we do take the class away, but you have the whole week to do that all levels class. And the reason is I want you to compare yourself to yourself. Right. Right. And I used to, like, if you think back when you go to a gym class, like, you love the community, you would go because the time worked, or the community was like really fun. So I wanted to create that in the community that we have, but I also wanted everyone to be taking the same class. So when they say, oh my God, class today was really awesome, they're not saying
which class
2275, right there. So I really wanted to be really simple for them to engage with each other, but also, talk about, like, it's hard to know how to listen to your body. If you don't know how to do that, but you take class on Monday and you struggle with some exercises, but then on Wednesday you take class and you didn't, you get to actually go, well, what did I do yesterday? Right. And you see your progression. Yeah. You can see your progression. You can see what it may be. Sunday night you partied, and on Tuesday night you went to bed at 8 p.m. Like, you can actually see in your own body and feel in your own body what is helping you and what's not. And you can also go, whoa, on Friday, I could do all these exercises. Well, now you're getting stronger. Right. So like, that's really what I wanted people to be able to tell themselves, because I'm not gonna be there to see you, but you're with you and you get to tell yourself that. And that's the difference in you growing in your life with confidence. It's you telling yourself you're doing good. It's not really from someone else. Yeah. And I like that, because a lot of people, like you said, are always looking for that external, you did a good job, versus, you're there to give you that good job, but you're also able for me to be like, you know what, look, I made it through the 20-minute class this time, versus I bailed at 5 because I just couldn't make it all the way through. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's just really, really important. The more we tell ourselves, this is what I did do. Yes. I did do this. Like, instead of focusing on what you didn't get done or you didn't do each day, if you focus on what you did do, it literally retrains your brain to show up for more things.
Exactly. Exactly. And like you said, how this conversation started, I can do hard things, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, and also it shows you there's a progression,
Yeah.
that you're not going to show up and like nail it. Maybe you will, I don't know, but some days you're not, and some days you are.
Well, and also like, there's some people, like I am a hypermobile body that was strong enough. So I did a lot of the exercises because my body could get into that position.
Right.
That doesn't mean I'm better than someone who's tighter and can't get into
Right.
that position.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that I look like I'm doing it. And I think it's really important that we understand that people out in the world doing a lot of things just look like they're doing a lot of things. They're not actually doing a lot of things.
Right.
And so what I want every person that I can get my hands on is, let's focus on what you did do, because that's actually what's happening. Like that's real. That's really happening.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, let me just, ladies, I can just chat with her all day long. I just absolutely
we have to do this more often.
I know, I absolutely love her. So I always ask, Leslie, people who, to close out my show, I always say, what makes you feel magical?
Oh, great question. And you know what? I think people might think it's like after my Pilates session that I feel most magical. And I do, I do, but I feel the most magical when I actually see the people that are taking my classes share that story that I told earlier, or go, I asked my husband to watch the kids for 20 minutes so I could do this. Like I feel magical then, because look, I like know like, oh, I'm creating little like magic moments for all these people. Like that makes me feel really magical. So thank you for letting me answer that, because that means a lot to me.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. So many, whenever I ask that question, so many people will say it's the things that we're able to bring to other people, which like that, just like, wow, like someone like, sometimes you just say things off the cuff and you're like, oh, that landed. Yay.
Right. And you're like, wait, what did I just say? Someone who wasn't even recording that.
Right. Or like someone like you like later on tags you in something and I'm like, oh, I said that. Look
like that does happen a lot. And I'm like, oh, I did say that. Thank you. Screenshot.
Right. I'm going to need to remember to say that again.
Yeah. But I, for those of you listening, whether or not I said anything that like landed with you, just know that anytime anyone says anything that like makes you go, aha, let them know. Because I promise you, they don't realize that about themselves. And that's going to get them to feel a little bit of magic. Mm-hmm. And then what ends up happening is the universe reciprocates that and people start telling you what you did that made them feel special. So, and that it's going to make you feel magical.
Yeah, I love that. I love that piece of advice. So Lesley, where can people find you? We know what we can find you at onlinepilatesclasses.com, plural. Yeah. And where else can we find you on the socials? Yeah.
So I love hanging out on Instagram, Elder Millennial over here. I'm going to hang out there till they kick us out. I'm at Lesley, Lesley.Logan, Logan. You can ask me anything over there. You can go to onlinepilatesclasses.com and you can snag a free class. There'll be a little pop-up that happens for you over there. And I have a podcast now called Be It Till You See It, which Kim's going to be on because that's going to be amazing. So if you like listening to podcasts, that's like a little doses of inspo over there.
Yeah. And I've listened to it, because I'm a podcast junkie. And it's, the thing of what I like about Lesley, like she just says these like one or two things that you're like, yeah, oh my God, that's the stuff. So make sure you have her in your ears listening to her podcast as well. All right, ladies, I love you. If we heard anything, feel free to screenshot this and be sure to tag both of us on the gram, or for those who are still hanging in Facebook land, Facebook as well. Thank you, Lesley.
Oh, thank you. This is amazing.